What's up everyone, it's Iskander here. Welcome back to Tech Pulse. In this video we're going to cover the Bittensor TAO project and its potential as the leading decentralized AI project in the crypto world. As always, anything we say in this video is not financial advice and for education and entertainment purposes. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like this video. You can join our free Discord group via the attached link. Firstly, a shout out to our sponsor Tangent. Please use the code on the right hand side for a 10% discount. So firstly in this video we're going to cover just the basics of what Bittensor TAO is. If you're new to this particular project, it has been in existence for quite some time, a few years in development, I think since about 2019. The actual token itself launched about 2 or so years ago, and it's had massive growth given obviously the growth of AI more generally in the world, and it's obviously established a fantastic market fit in terms of its proposition, and it fits quite well into the crypto space as well and some of the economics. So Bittensor TAO, it's effectively a decentralized AI network. Its architecture is a series of subnets that address a specific use case. What's interesting about this token is that it has a similar tokenomics to Bitcoin, so 21 million tokens in supply. Or not in supply at this stage, but that's the total count. What else can I tell you? The founder, Jacob Robert Steves, is ex-Defense and I believe Google. Very talented individual. He teamed with a few others to build Bittensor. And then, since then they've had huge traction in terms of, exchange listings, the technology itself, and some of the investment that's flowing into it. So looking at the coin market cap here, we can see the rank. Firstly, where are we? 32. So top 50. That's a fantastic standing. It was much higher earlier at its peak, late December 2024. Market cap of 3 billion. And then if we have a look here, so it was actually, I remember when it was still trading over the counter, you could, effectively, they built this website for trading, peer-to-peer trading in I think 2022 when Bittensor was only about $20 worth. So that's when I was buying it way back then, and since then it appreciated significantly to an all-time high of about $747, $750 per TAO, and since then I had a retracement again because the equities and crypto retraced due to tariff wars and everyone de-risking, but now it had a pretty significant surge of about 50 or more percent just in the last week. So I've seen this pattern play out again and again. It's one of the projects that bounces back the hardest. We can already see it's on Binance, so it's got very good liquidity on major exchanges. That's a tier 1 exchange, obviously. So tokenomics, just to recap that once again, we can see it's halving is actually based, the halving schedule is based on specific token supply. So the next one is at 10.5 million, and it's an estimate, right? So it's not a specific date. It could be September 10th, it could be even later in the year, depending on the emission. So just looking at firstly the architecture, I wanted to recap what's in this Grayscale paper. So just being on the Grayscale as one of the funds, investable funds under Grayscale, is a huge achievement for Bittensor obviously opens up to institutional investors in that sense, and this particular document recently released describes April 16, very recent, the whole AI market as a general. Obviously that's as a trend that has the most growth potential, more than anything we've seen in the past, more than the internet, more than crypto. And obviously Bittensor is positioned well to capture some of that value. So it talks about the architecture. It's effectively it's proposing to move from a centralized nature, which is what we're seeing across projects such as OpenAI and Gemini, and Microsoft, and also Elon's AI company, all building their own centralized solutions, AI platforms, with a view to obviously dominate the market. Whereas here, it's a decentralized proposition, right? So the whole architecture behind Bittensor, I think originally it was built on the Polkadot ecosystem. So you could draw some parallels to Polkadot in terms of having multiple subnets within its network, each subnet obviously adds value, so it builds a use case, and its value and price is reflected in Bittensor. So we can see this is the proposition, right? So the Internet of AI moving from a centralized to shared synergy in terms of AI, computational power, and the network. This is the overall architecture. So we have the subnet miners, but there's an incentive mechanism behind it, and then subnet validators, and there's back-end infrastructure for API calls, etc. So this is worth having a look. This captures the subnets on the Bittensor network at this stage. There's a lot of really interesting use cases around data, around computational models, right? There's so many different cases you can explore in speech, in pharmaceutical use cases, in data, computational power. So all of them have a particular use case that they bring to the network, and you can explore that further. So on TAO stats here, we can see this is the current price per TAO, and these are the networks, right? So we've got quite a number now. It's constantly growing, but some of the highest value ones. Here we can see the emissions, we can see the value expressed in terms of the TAO price, so it's 0.3 of a TAO. And what you could do, you could just stake your TAO and get roughly a 15% yield across the board, or you can, I believe you can stake that into a specific subnet. You could go 50-50, like a hybrid approach, and risk on, risk off. So it's a risk in the sense that you could spread your TAO across these subnets that you think will have the most traction based on value they generate, and then some have 50% perhaps allocated into just mining the 15% yield, and then you can gain. You can see in this particular article, April 23rd, top AI blockchain Bittensor subnet search past 500 million. So I think it's had like a 50x growth from the bottom up since February. That's how huge this is. If you were to allocate your TAO into these projects, into these subnets, that's what you could have generated, and it's still growing, right? It's still appreciating. Now, looking at have we covered most things? Yeah, TAO price here, we can see on that dump down to April 6 roughly, one TAO was about $160. That would have been a fantastic entry point. Obviously that's where there's some support here, and this previously that bottom was hit on August 5th 2024, and then since then we've had a hard bounce from there, about 50%, I believe. Let's take a look at that. And now it, broke this resistance level here, 125%. That's huge. This is all it takes to kind of be active in the market and across strong projects like TAO, and then buy the floor and then enjoy the 360% upside back to all-time high. So I think it's consolidating as per the Bitcoin performance as well in the rest of crypto at this point, and I think we'll see it heading up again, up, and if the conditions continue to improve, I believe we're going to get to much higher levels, 2618, 1618, that's a 500x, 5x, 9x, based on Fibonacci levels. And looking at the market cap of, if we were to compare TAO to ADA, for example, it's at the ADA is $25 billion market cap, and that would put TAO at about $3,000. And then at an all-time high, one TAO would be worth about 10,000 at 95 billion, right? So if things get really bullish in the crypto space, that's what we could potentially see for TAO. So thanks for tuning in. This was a brief update on the Bittensor TAO project. We're going to be covering more of the TAO project in the future. Please join us. Please follow our sponsors as well. I've got some links on the right hand side for Kraken, Tangent, and Mixi. If you're new to trading, feel free to join, open an account, and buy some TAO to start with. I'm Iskander, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.